Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another instant deck tech. So today we're going to Modern to check out a deck that I wanted to call I Bet You Didn't Know This Card Existed Green. But unfortunately, that was too long of a title to fit on the slideshow, so I had to cut it down to Forcemage Green. This deck is really crazy. It goes to show there is apparently more than one way to build mono green aggro in Modern. This one took Daniel Skoglund to a top 8 finish at a recent SCG Modern IQ, so congrats to Daniel on his finish with the deck. A quick reminder before we break down the insanity that is Forcemage Green. If you enjoy this deck and want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, do whatever you can to support your deck, because whichever is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. Anyway, let's talk Forcemage Green. So the deck gets its name from a card called Primal Forcemage, which I thought was completely unplayable. So it's a 3-mana 2/2. And it has an ability where whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, that creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. Well, that sounds nice. +3/+3, that's like giant growth. That's a decent card, you know, pretty good bonus. The problem is, you play your Tarmogoyf, it's summoning sick. Sure, it gets +3/+3, but it doesn't do anything because the creature's summoning sick. So you got to go pretty deep to make this card work. The easiest thing to do is play a bunch of haste creatures, so sure they get that benefit, and they can attack when other creatures that don't have haste would be summoning sick. And that's the direction Daniel went with this deck, and I have to say, he went incredibly deep. So the deck is playing a bunch of cards that I bet you didn't know existed. Like Ukatabi Drake, for example, a 1-mana 2/1 flying haste in green, of all things, but it has Echo of 3, so you gotta pay 3 mana on your next upkeep, or it dies. The thing is, if you got the Primal Forcemage down, this is just like a 1-mana Hell's Thunder or something. It would become a 5/4 flying haste for 1 green mana, so you just throw that at your opponent's face. Sure, it's going to die the next turn, but what do you care? You got in that damage. Strangleroot Geist is pretty sweet with the plan. It has haste, so you get that benefit. It can attack as a 5/4 right away, and since it has Undying, if your opponent kills it, blocks it, whatever, it comes back in and you get another shot with it. Then the deck goes with Groundbreaker, the Green Ball Lightning, 3 green mana for a 6/1 with Trample and Haste, and you sack it at the end of the turn. Well, it gets in 9 damage with Trample for 3 mana, assuming you got your Primal Forcemage out. A Giant Solifuge tickles the spider, only a 4/1. With Trample and Haste and Shroud, so it can't be Pathed or Lightning Bolted. But that still hits for a lot with a Primal Forcemage when it hits for 7 and can't really be interacted with by removal. And then the finisher, Timbermare, 4 mana, 5/5 haste. When it enters the battlefield, you gotta tap all other creatures. So this is a pretty guaranteed way to get in 8 damage for 4 mana if you have a Primal Forcemage on the battlefield. So that's the deck. You get a Primal Forcemage down, and you just lightning bolt all these janky creatures that are going to die at the end of turn anyway because of Echo or because the card makes you sack them, and hope that you can just lightning bolt your way to victory. The rest of the deck, you got some Mana Dorks to speed up the process, Birds of Paradise Noble Hierarch, a Scavenging Ooze, and a Slaughterhorn as additional creatures. Slaughterhorn is a pump spell because of Blood Rush that you can also cast as a creature if you want to. These ones don't work with Primal Forcemage, obviously, because they're summoning sick. And then the deck keeps getting crazier, so Rancor and Vines, that makes sense. You see those in mono green decks. Good pump spells. Rancor gives something trample. Vines can protect a creature. Then you got Force Summoners Pact. I guess that's so you can make sure you find your Primal Forcemage. Your Summoners Pact, Primal Forcemage. Start throwing your Drakes in there for 5 damage in the air. And then a Life's Legacy. Okay, weird, but oddly powerful. I mean, you gotta sack your Groundbreaker at the end of turn anyway, so you might as well sack it for 2 mana to Life's Legacy and refill your hand by drawing 6 or 9 cards if there's a Primal Forcemage out. And then a Hurricane. I have never seen a Hurricane in a modern deck, especially in the main board, but never anywhere. Mana base, pretty simple, 20 snow-covered forests in the sideboard. Gotta love it. You got the 4 fogs because your deck isn't good at blocking because all of your creatures are ball lightning, so you throw them in there, getting damage, and then most of them die. And then Path to Exiles. Remember, we just talked about the mana base, which, what was it? That's right, 20 snow-covered forests. So you are 100% reliant on using your mana dorks to cast your Path to Exile. Not playing a fetch land to get a Temple Guard and anything like that. Nope, we are going all in Mana Dork mana and running 3 paths in our sideboard. And then some more creatures that answer specific situations. Malire helps against infects, Scavengers gain some life in Graveyard, and Rexage kills an artifact or enchantment. Relic of Progenitus and Wheel of Sun and Moon fight against graveyard decks, a Pithing Needle, and then a couple of defense grids to keep your stuff from getting countered by making your opponent's spells cost more during your turn. So that is Forcemage Green in Modern. Anyway, that's been our instant deck tech for the day. I hope you enjoyed Forcemage Green, and I will talk to you soon.